it's Wes, and today we are in 24 FPS, unlike the usual, which is either 30 or 60, because we are having a look at a cinema lens, the Sirui Nightwalker 35 1.2, and it is a beauty. But does it only look good? Well, let's find out. Starting with the categories, and as always, the build quality. What a beauty of a lens, as I said. This one is in the new gunmetal colorway, and oh my goodness, it looks nice. This is what appears to be an all-metal design for the most part. We've got some plastic over here. Let's take off the back, metal. Nice big opening back here. These blue accents are just gorgeous. Look at that. Now, that being said, this is a surprisingly lightweight lens for a 35 1.2. So we've got a lot of glass in here, but it is not strangely heavy. The balance of the lens is, well, it's surprisingly balanced. It is not a front-heavy lens, it's about balanced half and half, which is nice. This is not a weather-sealed design. It is internal focusing, as most cinema lenses are. Nice metal focus and aperture rings with our gears built into them. No electronic contacts. This is a full manual APS-C lens, and that's one of the reasons why it's a little bit lighter, because it's APS-C. But as you can see from the back here, it has a fairly large image circle, so if you choose to shoot this in full frame mode and then crop down yourself, you are going to get a fair amount of vignetting, but you can control that and get a little bit more light and resolution if you so choose. The lens cap is a typical Sirui lens cap, but I find it kind of annoying. The center section here is very slippery and hard to get a hold of. Then the edges kind of disappear into the lens. Not my favorite lens cap, especially once you set it like this. It's a little bit wobbly. And the back cap is one of these minimalist ones, which looks a lot like the ones that come on Yongnuo lenses, but interestingly enough, it is not exactly the same, it's slightly larger. But overall, fit and finish is stellar. The only thing we're missing is weather sealing. Build quality is 9 out of 10. Handling and usability. Now, we have to take this in a cinema lens usage handling perspective, in that you're not going to have your hands on this a lot. It's going to be set onto your camera rig with some remote focus gears attached to it. So number one, it is reasonably light for a well-built lens like this. The wheels are very lightly dampened, but incredibly smooth, very consistent right across the board. And we have, I believe, a 270 degree focus pull. Feels great. And we have T1.2 to T16. On the front, we have a 67mm filter thread, which I like. I have a lot of 67mm lenses, very common size. Speaking of common sizes, this is size matched the entire Nightwalker lineup, so if you need to swap out between the various focal lengths that they're providing, your gears will match up perfectly, which again is a common thing for a cinema lens lineup. One great advantage that you have of having a 1.2 lens is that you can shoot in the dark. So here we have a scene lit only by the fairy lights in the background and the candles and the match. And as you can see, that is ample light to have a pretty clear shot. Almost no focus breathing, although there is a little bit, which does affect usability. If you're doing a huge focus pull, you're going to see it. For smaller focus pulls, you're not going to notice it at all. The aperture ring is on the back of the lens, which I prefer. Some people don't care, some people rather have it in the front, but for me, I would much rather it be in the back, focus ring in the front. That's the right way to do it. So overall, handling and usability, when you're looking at it as a cinema lens, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Nice, compact, solid, smooth design. Image quality. And I'll tell you right now, and as you probably already know, although this is an ultra wide aperture lens. It is a very competitively priced lens, so we're gonna have to take a hit somewhere, and that is on image quality. If you were to like take pictures with this lens at 33, 45, 50 megapixels, wide open, it's very soft. But again, we have to say people are mostly going to be shooting this at 4K these days, probably not even 8K. At 8K, this lens would not hold up. Wide open, it is quite soft, which is an effect that people would see as desirable in some cases, but it doesn't really become super sharp until you get to like T2.8. You can check out all my image and video samples at a link in the description below, so you can pixel peek to your heart's content yourself. Chromatic aberration is totally off the handle wide open, and even as you stop it down, it kind of remains there. Flaring resistance is good, but not great. I feel like that's likely on purpose. If you want to resist flares, put a big old matte box on that. If not, it does have some nice warm flaring. The image washes pretty easily though, which is unfortunate, so if you have a backlit subject, you're going to be losing contrast very quickly, and you already have fairly low contrast when you're shooting this wide open. Could be argued that that's more of a filmic look, but it's nice to be able to achieve that by putting a filter on your lens rather than always having to have that look. So for image quality, I'm going to have to give this a 6.5 out of 10. Not astonishing. Image character though, and this is where the appeal for this lens begins to come from. The image character is just soft and creamy and smooth. And if we have a look at our cat's eye bokeh test, you'll see that the bokeh has very smooth edges on it, and when you stop it down, it stays very round and smooth, so you're almost never going to have a busy or nervous background with this lens. However, if you look close at the bokeh, you're going to see some green fringing, and if we stop it down here, there is still green fringing, maybe blue fringing, so yeah, there's a lot of CA on this lens. The flares though are lovely, the sun stars are fantastic, so the overall look and feel of this lens is great. I have to give this an 8.5 out of 10 for image character. Focusing performance. Now you might think, why do you even have a category for that for a manual focus lens? Well, number one, we have the feel and effectiveness of the focus wheel. Very long throw, which is what you want from a cinema lens, very smooth. Additionally, with focus assist systems, for focus peaking, we have some issues when we are like T1.2, T1.4. It is not quite sharp enough to have very consistent focus peaking results. That's going to make it a little harder to get focus with this lens. Once you stop it down a little further from that, it's just perfectly fine. We don't have electronic contacts on here, so there won't be any automated focus assist systems if you do like to rely on those. So overall, focus performance, the most you can get for a manual focus lens with no electronic contacts is a 4, it's a 3.5. Value, and this is where things get interesting as expected. This lens comes in at $350 US, and it turns out that the gunmetal version is an extra $50. That is a lot of money compared to the overall price of this lens, but oh my goodness, look how beautiful this thing is. This is just the prettiest lens I've ever held in my hands. I am kind of sorry that I have it a bit scuffed up now because I have taken it out on a lot of shoots now. Let's compare this. We have the SLR Magic 35 1.4, $430. Rokinon 35 T 1.3 is $550. SLR Magic has a T 1.3 for $600. 7 Artisans 35 1.05, a little bit wider aperture, $500. It just goes up and up and up from there, and you know that, let's say you get a cinema lens from like Ari or one of the other big cinema lens companies, you're gonna be in the thousands of dollars. This is $350 for just a solid cinema lens that will give you beautiful results, just not going to get that clinical sharpness that you might need for some work. So that is a 10 out of 10 for value, which gives us a total score of 77.5%. Let's bring it up on the West Scores spreadsheet here. Now, as you can see, we're comparing this mostly to photo lenses, but they're all being evaluated by their own merits, so there is a lot of comparable information here. You've seen the image samples, video samples already. You will know whether or not this lens works for you at this point. If you want to pick up one of these, I have a link down in the description below to help support this channel and feed my fat cats. If you have any questions about this lens, let me know and I will get back to you. And also, let me know how you think this lens fits into the market. And until next time, let's go take some photos and some beautiful creamy videos.